We've been tracking the snow squall through the Wasatch Front. We could see another snow squall for tomorrow. When does it hit? I'll let you know.
Tracking winter driving conditions throughout northern Utah. We're live in the Fox 13 News Big O Tires weather beast.
He lost his life in a bizarre chain of events at Salt Lake International Airport.
Whenever any alarm goes off, our personnel in our control center are immediately pulling up a camera.
Tonight, new details shed light on what happened and how it led to such a tragic end.
It's been a deadly flu season so far in Utah, taking the lives of 2 children and 3 adults.
Inevitably, there's going to be some people that have a bad outcome, like death.
How experts say you can best protect yourself and your family.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Utah's Weather Authority has been showing us what was coming, and now it is here. Snow squalls up and down the Wasatch Front and all over northern Utah.
We have live team coverage for you tonight with crews in the Fox 13 Big O Tires Weather Beast and in the Weather Center. Breck, let's go ahead and start with you. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. We've seen the action here throughout the afternoon into the evening with that front moving through the Wasatch Front. Associated snow squall with that cold front, gusty winds, heavy snow piling up on the roads. Where do we find it right now? Well, it's tracking through Utah County. It's losing its strength here, as you can see. Darker blue earlier on. We even had some lightning strikes, that thunderstorm. But as it's moving through Utah County, as we're seeing those snow showers, Orem through Provo, tracking through Spanish Fort Canyon and Spanish Fort currently. Again, we're seeing more of a light to a moderate snowfall. We're not seeing the wind, so we did have snow squall warnings in effect moving southward along the Wasatch Front. All of those warnings have expired. As we look, there's a definite back edge to this storm where we're going to get a little bit of a break, even though light snow showers a possibility across the valley floors, even through the mountains here in the overnight hours. But we are not done with this storm. The first wave hitting, of course, tonight. Second wave coming in tomorrow. Thus, we do have winter weather advisories in place for the valleys, winter storm warnings in effect for the mountains. And we're looking at a possibility of seeing another snow squall for tomorrow. Not a big concern for the morning. Actually, through most of the morning commute, we might see a couple of periods where we see some light snow showers. But again, that next wave coming through, the focus will be towards the afternoon with another snow squall with more persistent and even more snow expecting. The timing of that snow squall, how much snow will fall, and how many storms on tap as we look for the rest of the week. I'll answer that coming up in just a bit. Now let's turn to Jenna Bree, who's been out on the weather beast. We released the beast, of course, when we have a winter storm. Jenna, I understand you are in northern Utah County. What are you seeing out there?
That's right, Breck. We're just kind of driving north through Lehigh right now. Let me show you the conditions we're looking at. As you said, the snow is definitely weakening its grip, but it's still kind of flurrying out there. I don't know if you can see the roads super well, but there's definitely still some snow on the ground. We're going north on I-15 right now, and we got some tips from a service manager at a local auto shop today we want to share with you. Travis Koopman says you want to make sure your tires have good tread. Generally, tires need to be replaced every 5 years. The same goes for batteries. Those need to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. So have yours checked out if it's a couple years old, or else your car might not start one of these cold mornings. But he says the number one piece of advice he has, take your foot off the gas.
Slow down. Main thing is really slow down out there. Gotta slow down. If you don't got good tires, if you don't got no good snow tires on there, you gotta slow down. Just because you got a 4-wheel drive doesn't mean you can speed. That's just it's one of those things. You'll still slip and slide. Black ice is everywhere out there.
Koopman also recommends keeping a snow scraper inside your car and top off that washer fluid to keep the grime off your windshield so you can have good visibility in case you do get caught in a snow squall. We will continue to keep you updated throughout the evening on the conditions of the roads, but for now, I'll toss it back to you guys in studio.
Jenna, thanks so much. Be careful out there on the road. It is rare when weather affects flight operations at Salt Lake International Airport, but tonight is one of those nights.
This is a live look at FlightAware's misery map. So far, 14 flights have been impacted. You see them there. Currently, the app FlightAware has Salt Lake experiencing departure delays of 1 hour and 8 minutes and decreasing. If you're expecting someone flying in tonight, check with their airline to see if their flight is affected.
But ground travel is even more affected by the weather, as we heard from Jenna just a minute ago. Fox 13 News stopped by the National Weather Service office today. Senior meteorologist Monica Trafhagen says during a snow squall, conditions can go from clear to whiteout in a matter of minutes.
Quick accumulation of snow on the roads is going to make those roads very, very slick, very difficult travel. And then you could get some gusty winds along with that, causing some blowing snow that's going to further reduce your visibility. And so what we're trying to emphasize when we talk about snow squalls is that conditions can deteriorate rapidly and make for extremely dangerous travel.
The National Weather Service actually started issuing snow squall alerts only a couple of years ago. Trafhagen says it's because they want people to know they are different from other snowstorms in severity.
Avalanche forecaster Craig Gordon with the Utah Avalanche Center says the dry spell in mid-December created weak, sugary snow. And with this storm, stronger snow is now piling up on top of the weak snow. He says that makes for unusual, also very dangerous avalanche conditions. Gordon says an avalanche can be triggered from a distance without being even on the slope. And these conditions are not something to take lightly.
So right now, across the mountains of northern Utah, generally the avalanche danger is considerable. On a scale of 1 to 5, that's a level 3. We expect the avalanche danger to rise to a level 4. That's high. That means that both human-triggered and natural avalanches are very likely. This is the real deal.
Be so careful. Gordon suggests if you do decide to play in the snow, try a ski resort where there is active avalanche mitigation and avoid going into the backcountry.
Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, the Provo City School District has announced a 2-hour delay for each of its schools tomorrow morning because of the inclement weather expected in the morning. The district's transportation department will utilize below bench pickup locations as well. We'll keep track of any other delays or potential closures tomorrow morning on Good Day Utah right here on Fox 13 starting at 4:30.
And of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on the storm throughout this newscast. Don't forget, if you have any photos or videos to share with us, you can scan that QR code on your screen right now. It will take you to Utah's Weather Authority Facebook group. This is a great place to see firsthand accounts of what the weather looks like all around the state and also interact with our team of meteorologists. 1 week after a Park City man breached an airport security door and died inside a plane engine, the Salt Lake City Department of Airports is trying to clear up any building security concerns.
Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser is live in studio tonight with more. Emily.
Bob Kelly, ever since 30-year-old Kyler Effinger died during his mental health crisis, a lot of people have wondered, how was he able to get so close to a plane, and how long did it take for airport security to act?
Welcome to the airport's Emergency Operations Center, what Salt Lake City Department of Airports Executive Director Bill Wyatt calls the heartbeat of the airport.
These moments always give us an opportunity to reflect on what could happen. What if something else had occurred?
It would have been here on January 1st where operators would have heard an alarm set off by 30-year-old Kyler Effinger breaching an airport security door.
Here at the airport, whenever any alarm goes off, our personnel in our control center are immediately pulling up a camera and looking to see what's going on.
But it was nighttime, almost 10 o'clock.
So it was dark, and so there was a certain point where went into an area where it was more dark.
Wyatt says the security plan, quote, worked very well in tracking Effinger down.
Being able to find him, identify him, locate him within 10 minutes is really pretty extraordinary.
He says there are 60 doors just like this in case of emergency.
These exit doors are code requirements, fire code requirements, and so they have panic bars, and if you push the panic bar, the door is going to open.
Travelers flying into Salt Lake say they're not concerned about security.
Overall, I think that I probably feel the safest in the Salt Lake City airport. Part of that may be familiarity, but overall, just with their process, I feel pretty safe.
I feel safe here. It's like getting off the plane and walking and talking to you. I feel like, wow, this would be a nice place to live.
Wyatt says the Salt Lake City Police Department, TSA, FAA, and the NTSB are not done looking into this. Now, as for the Salt Lake City Department of Airports, he says their conclusion is that this was a tragic event, but a security moment where they, quote, pulled together and communicated effectively.
Now, Emily, before we let you go, last week when I was at the airport and covering this story, it struck me how far it is from the terminal to the de-icing station where Effinger was found. Any idea how that might have impacted the security response?
I'm sure it did impact security response, and I think that's one of the reasons why this investigation is not done and is still going on from other entities. Now, it's important to note that before he breached that security door, he caused a disturbance at a store on the east side of the A concourse, but he was found on the west airfield. So that's about a half a mile distance. So definitely that could have played a part. It'll be interesting to see what those other investigative reports have to say about how that went down.
A horribly sad situation.
Oh, yeah.
Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser joining us live in studio tonight. Emily, thank you.
Thanks.
The race for Utah governor is officially underway.
We'll break down the impact rural versus urban views will play as candidates work to earn your vote.
There's some sadness around the fact that any school has to close.
After months of review, tonight, Salt Lake City School District makes a tough choice about the future of 4 elementary schools.
Utah Jazz will continue their celebration of 50 years in the NBA with a 90s theme night. We'll hear from Brian Russell and Greg Ostertag.
It is coming down out there. This is a live shot from the Provo Canyon Road down in Orem. You can see the snow on the ground, the snow on the road, and boy, if you got to be out there tonight, snow on the camera, be so careful, won't you?
Can't stress that enough. Even though it may not be snowing where you are, the roads are slushy and extremely slick. We've had numerous reports of slide-offs and accidents, so please don't be overconfident. Even though it's not snowing, we still have some treacherous roads out there.
The race for Utah governor is well underway, but an interesting dynamic has emerged among some of the candidates.
They're not all from along the Wasatch Front. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has more.
We can do better.
Democratic candidate for governor Brian King kicked off his campaign outlining a list of priorities he has.
It's astonishing to me, quite honestly, that I'm the one standing up saying this in the state of Utah, with supermajority controlled by Republicans, when they supposedly are the small government party. I don't see that nearly enough.
Everyone is going up against Governor Spencer Cox, who's popular in polling and has incumbent advantage.
We've accomplished so much over the past 3 years now. The largest tax cuts in our state's history. We've been working on big projects like social media, holding social media companies accountable. But one of the big projects that we're working on right now is housing affordability.
On the Republican side, Governor Spencer Cox is facing 4 challengers from within his own party.
Well, this is a battle of ideas, not a battle of people.
3 of the Republican candidates are from rural Utah, which could be a big decider in the next election.
I think it's amazing. I love, I'm the first rural governor we've had in a long, long time. Someone who grew up in rural Utah and stayed in rural Utah. And so I think that's really important to talk about those issues. There's a growing divide in our country between urban and rural. And I've been very lucky to be able to bridge that divide.
People feel like rural is being left behind and that a governor has to represent the entire state, not just a certain population center. And so as we do that, there are a lot of issues that are going to come in from outside the city limits.
That's an interesting dynamic in Utah. I think Utah is the West. Utah, even if you live in the city, you don't consider yourself an urbanite. You really are a Utah Western lifestyle person.
The candidates say they are campaigning for the whole state.
I don't see it so much as an urban-rural thing as much as just a Utah values person.
King, who represents a portion of Salt Lake City in the Utah State Legislature, acknowledges some differences.
Rural Utahns are a little more skeptical, maybe a lot more skeptical at times, of bills dealing with guns than Salt Lake residents and urban Utahns. But I'll tell you, reproductive rights, this is something that all Utahns, I think, are pretty much on the same page on, which is to say, we want the government out of our lives when we're talking about the most personal, private decisions that we make.
On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And here's a look at all the candidates running for governor in 2024. As you can see, Governor Spencer Cox has 4 Republican challengers. The primary election will take place in June. The general election is in November.
Let's take a look at UDOT traffic camera now in Spanish Fork where the snow is falling. Camera having a hard time picking up that snow, but you can see this is the front that brought the snow and the snow squalls throughout the Wasatch Front. Now we don't have any current snow squalls warnings in effect. It's really weakening in strength, but the snow continues to be an issue as it is sticking to the roads moving through Utah County. You're seeing that line of showers, the snow falling from Orem through Provo, Spanish Fork Canyon. But notice the color changes where earlier on the darker blues, more of a moderate to a heavy snowfall. Now it's more light blue. So yes, losing its strength and intensity here as it pushes further south. It won't be much of an issue here, but snow squalls, we need to talk about this because we have another one on tap for tomorrow. Another front pushing through, but as we define what a snow squall is, it's a sudden onset pushing in, as we saw here through the early evening hours. Intense bursts of snow and wind with the possibility of some whiteout conditions. We know as it piles up quickly, sticking to the roads, that road conditions quickly deteriorating, and a short duration of time, usually less than 2 hours. Sometimes it just pushes in. It's a half hour, 45 minutes. Now tomorrow with the snow squall, it's going to hit, and we're going to see snow, more snow behind it because a lot of the snow that we're seeing here along the Wasatch Front quickly dissipating, where we're not getting any action here, at least for most of the northern central Wasatch Front. Temperatures currently, I should say, in Salt Lake City, low 30s. Notice the winds calm. Earlier we had the south winds. Front hit at about 6 o'clock. The wind direction changed. We had that burst of winds. We found wind gusts upwards of 35 to 45 miles per hour. But again, the conditions are calm, except in Provo. We are looking at some breezy conditions and through Spanish Fork, but indications that the snow squall strength has definitely been lessening here, where as we look at your current wind gusts, anywhere between 5 to 10 miles per hour, it's just not going to be an issue here for the overnight hours. Looking at the watches and warnings in effect, winter storm warning still for the mountains. We are not done with the storm. The second wave coming through with the possibility of another snow squall for tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 4 p.m. for the northern Wasatch Front through northern Utah. Going through Davison to Salt Lake County, 4 to 6 p.m. time window. And then as we go into the early evening hours, as we get through Utah County, the time frame 6 to 8 p.m. So this will be directly impacting all the afternoon commute into the early evening hours. This is why it's going to be much more of an issue than what we saw as a lot of the action took place towards the tail end. But how much snow are we talking about? Mountains, impressive amounts as we go through all the way through Friday morning. Oh my goodness, look at these numbers just keep building up. A foot to 2 feet to 3 feet of snow close as we look in the Cottonwood Canyons. But all the ski resorts definitely benefiting from the storm, as well as the valleys. Definitely going to be looking at some accumulations where you'll have to be doing some shoveling. You already had to do it around here for tonight. Tomorrow morning, we're not seeing the action until the afternoon. So as you get home tomorrow, you're shoveling again, probably in the overnight hours into Thursday morning. But even look at the Wasatch back, where Park City potentially could pick up 1.5 to 2 feet of snow. As we look right now, things weakening, but there's our next front. There's our next wave coming through. That cold front and that push of air will be hitting in as we go into tomorrow afternoon. So we'll time things out where we get a little break throughout the morning. We'll see some clouds. Winds do pick up ahead of this front. The timing throughout the afternoon. And here's the thing. This will not lose its strength as it moves further southward, as it will be spreading throughout central into southern Utah, where we see some snow showers in St. George tomorrow night through early Thursday morning. The snow also impacting southeastern Utah before it finally exits, and then we get a little bit of a break. So this next storm has a bigger punch, a bigger bite, and more snow associated with it, so get ready for it. Tonight, lingering light snow showers here, particularly for Salt Lake into Utah County and mainly over the mountains. Central and southern Utah, you'll see some clouds, potentially seeing some light snow showers as we go through areas such as Ephraim, down through Richfield, and then turning towards the east. But southern Utah, you're going to be avoiding the snow for tonight. It will be chilly tomorrow. We get going once again throughout the afternoon, and then we look towards tomorrow night as it will be pushing through into southern Utah. Temperatures still below average for many locations, and for St. George, you've got mid-40s, but you get the snow early through Thursday morning. Then you're clearing out and warming up. You're near 50 degrees heading into Sunday. Northern Utah, again, as we've been showing, just snow each and every day. We'll see that potential with another wave hitting for the weekend. That snow continues to push through. We'll be looking at more valley and mountain snow accumulations heading all the way into next week. We'll be back right after the break.
The suspicious death of a man found dead inside his van in Springville in 2022 is now being called a homicide. 32-year-old Chase Michael Kamey of Springville was charged with murder today in 4th District Court. He's also facing obstruction of justice charges. On October 8th, 2022, 56-year-old Bobby Poole was found dead in the driver's seat of a van in an industrial area near 1851 North Parkway Court. Last week, the suspect was arrested in Colorado on a federal warrant. Court records do not specify the charge he's facing there. Authorities in Utah are now seeking to have him extradited here to face the murder charge.
In southern Utah, a man has been sentenced in the robbery of a St. George credit union. 54-year-old Jason Grace will spend 2 years in prison, followed by 3 years probation after admitting to the crime. Court documents indicate Grace entered a Mountain America credit union in St. George last July, handed the teller a note demanding $4,400. He then fled in a black Chevy Silverado. Mesquite police spotted that car the next day and at the Virgin River Casino, got a warrant and searched his hotel room and car and arrested him.
Slick roads and cold temps will let you know how you can get yourself and your car ready for winter driving conditions.
Tonight, the Salt Lake City School District School Board voted on school closures. I'll tell you their decision.
Salt Lake County is reporting that 2 kids have died because of the flu. We speak to experts and show you what you can do to keep your family healthy this flu season.
The 2 Utah teams ranked in the top 25 playing tonight. BYU at Baylor and Utah State at home against Wyoming. I have the highlights coming up.
Time to check back in with Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree, who is live in the Fox 13 Big O Tires Weather Beast.
Jenna, I hope you guys are all staying safe. How are the roads out there?
Well, Bob and Kelly, it's definitely been an eventful day out on the roads. I mean, we saw a lot of snow squalls, roads covered in snow. Let me show you what we're looking at right now. You can see there's still some snow, lots of wet patches on the ground right now, just a few flurries. So, you know, not too bad right now compared to what we were seeing earlier, but as Breck has been telling us, it's just going to keep snowing, so it's a good time to check those tires, check your batteries, make sure everything's ready to go. We'll check back in a little bit, but for now, I'll send it back to you guys in studio.
All right, Jenna, thanks so much. Unified Police have released a picture of the woman killed at A+ Massage in Midvale last week. This is 45-year-old Yuping Zhao of Salt Lake County. Investigators are calling hers a homicide, but did not give further details. They're asking for your help in the investigation and say you can remain anonymous.
Tonight, the Salt Lake City School District School Board voted 4-3 in favor of the recommended school closures and boundary adjustments.
It means 4 elementary schools in the district will close. Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule has the details.
As far as my child, it's really going to be difficult to share with him what we're going to do next year. We don't know.
Dozens of parents and community members left West High somber after the Salt Lake City School District School Board voted in favor of closing 4 elementary schools in the district: Hawthorne, Riley, Emlyn Benyon, and Mary W. Jackson Elementary, as well as adjusting the boundaries of 14 others after this school year.
We have reiterated throughout this entire process that we're not opposed to closing schools. What we said from the beginning was you're closing a top-rated blue ribbon school, and the legislative audit asked you to replicate top schools.
During the meeting's public comment, parents asked the board to table the decision, citing community concerns about the lack of transparency in the process.
You won't have to make an unsupported, generationally significant decision, and parents won't have to feel like we were swindled. Tabling would give you a chance to get this right and show the kind of thoughtfulness and oversight that we appreciate and expect.
We have carefully and fully followed the G5 policy, which is the board's policy on school closure and boundary adjustments.
Salt Lake City School District Superintendent Dr. Elizabeth Grant supported moving the school closures forward, saying this puts the district in a position to provide the best education for its students.
To have more schools than we need is not good for student learning, is not good for teacher collaboration, and is not good for providing the full supports to our students.
As the Salt Lake City School District expects to continue to see their enrollment decline, Dr. Elizabeth Grant expects more school closures in the future.
I hope they get it right next time. It's unfortunate that we are the recipients of the not right process.
We look at that process, we talk with the community about what they want to have as the metrics, but I want the community to know I have not yet heard an alternative that is more fair, because it always lands harder on some people than others.
The Salt Lake City School District plans for students to transition into their new schools this fall with the support of the district. Last year, the district also announced that equivalent employment opportunities will be offered to staff at the schools chosen for closure. In Salt Lake City, I'm Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In national news tonight, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun has publicly acknowledged the company made a mistake.
It's in response to an Alaska Airlines flight on Friday in which a door on the plane popped out. Both Alaska and United have grounded Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes to look for any other faulty door plugs. Calhoun says the company will work with the FAA and the NTSB during the investigation. The FAA has said that Boeing's plan for door plug inspections needs to be updated.
College students could see lower levels of financial aid in the fall because of a federal education department error. The department failed to update its aid calculation index for inflation, which has increased about 20% since the onset of the pandemic. That means the family income threshold that determines how much aid a student is eligible for could be wrong. Unless the inflation adjustment is fixed, a family could be considered to have more resources than they actually do.
NASA's Artemis mission may be delayed until at least 2026. The mission is supposed to return humans to the moon. It was originally slated for next year. NASA says there are several reasons for the delay, but it mainly stems from the SpaceX outlook for developing Starship. That's expected to be the rocket and spacecraft system that will bring astronauts from the lunar orbit to the moon's south pole. 2 Starship test flights last year ended in explosions.
Experts are saying this year's flu can be dangerous, and a recent announcement proves that it can kill as well. We talked to an expert.
And here's a live look at all the snow coming down on northbound I-15 at 400 North in Payson. I'll tell you what, don't go out if you don't have to tonight, and if you absolutely do, take it real slow.
Welcome back, everyone. 2 children and 3 adults in Salt Lake County have died from the flu in the past 30 days.
Fox 13 News reporter Mythili Gubi shares what experts say you can do to keep your family safe.
Every year when flu hits and hits hard, or when RSV hits and hits hard, inevitably there's going to be some people that have a bad outcome, like death.
2 children in Salt Lake County died from influenza. According to the health department, out of the 5 people who've passed away so far, none of them have a record of getting their flu shot. Even though these numbers are typical for a season, experts do recommend you get your flu shot.
And it's recommended in September, October is the best time to get your flu vaccine, but really it's never too late. We always recommend to get it. Anyone 6 months of age and older is eligible for the flu vaccine. So really, if you haven't gotten it this year, you should get it.
Getting your flu shot does not mean that you won't get sick, but it does decrease the severity of the illness.
The flu deaths that happen are more often in patients that have not had immunizations, not been vaccinated. And obviously we know from good science that the influenza vaccine does a good job of keeping people from getting sick enough to wind up seeking health care. So,
Dr. Per Jesland at Primary Children's Hospital says they are overwhelmed with kids getting sick.
It's safe to say that our ICU is full of a lot of respiratory illness.
This season is unusual because there are 3 strains of the virus circulating when there's usually just one dominant variant. But these are not new strains, so they're not causes for major concerns.
It doesn't really change what we do a whole lot. You know, some strains can be more severe than other strains. Typically AH1N1 is a more severe strain, but it doesn't change a whole lot. The vaccine covers all of the strains, so that's a good thing.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services says they have not recorded any other pediatric flu deaths across the state besides the 2 here in Salt Lake County. Experts say if you don't want to take the vaccine, there are ways you can keep yourself healthy this flu season. They recommend washing your hands well and thoroughly, staying away from people who are sick, and if you're sick, staying home to prevent the spread, and if you do have to leave, masking up. In Salt Lake City, I am Maithili Gubbi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, as we go to break, let's share another UDOT traffic camera. This is in Santaquin. The snow is falling, as you can see, sticking to the roads. We take a look at the traffic cameras here, or excuse me, the traffic maps through Utah County. A lot of orange and yellow, particularly the southern end of Utah County. As we look at tomorrow's afternoon commute, I'm suspecting that we'll see a lot of red with another snow squall. We're going to give you all the information to help you get ready. That information after the break.
Coming up in sports, we'll look back at the glory days of the Utah Jazz with Brian Russell and Greg Ostertag. And it was a top 20 matchup between BYU and Baylor. The 20th ranked Utah State also playing against Wyoming. Highlights are on the way.
Time now for this month's edition of the Fox 13 Dream Team Surprise.
This is a good one. With working with parents, many students are in need of after-school care. So at Glendale Middle School in Salt Lake City, a coach has made it his mission to help for some of the best after-school programs in the entire state. He's put it all together.
This month, the Fox 13 Dream Team is proud to honor Coach Lucas Tucker for all the work being done to keep students safe, interested, and entertained after the bell rings. The Fox 13 Dream Team surprised Coach Tucker in front of the entire school at an assembly recently, giving him an REI backpack, a $150 REI gift card, a $150 Dutch Brothers gift card, and $1,000 to go toward after-school programs.
This is my 10th school year here at Glendale, and each year I try to add more and provide more opportunities for our kids. I think like most middle school students, a lot of kids are trying to find themselves at this age. A lot of things are going through hard times at home. We like to keep kids here. A lot of kids not necessarily have a place to go that's safe after school, be in a safe place, but also do a lot of fun things.
Way to go, Coach. Keep it up. If you have someone you would like to nominate in your life to be surprised by the Fox 13 Dream Team, sure would be fun. We'd love to come out. Go to our website, fox13now.com/contest. Fill out the nomination form there. Tell us why they deserve to be paid a visit by the awesome, amazing Fox 13
Incomparable
Dream Team. I always love these surprises.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
exciting and they really warm your heart.
Yep, they sure do. Well, we've got an update on the weather's impact on air travel right now. This is a live look at the flight departure board inside the main terminal at Salt Lake International Airport.
We just got off the phone with Nancy Vollmer with the airport. She says there have been a total of 87 delays leaving Salt Lake City today and 96 delayed arrivals. She adds that things overall have been staying on schedule. So that's some good news out of the airport.
Yeah, we know how to do snow at Salt Lake International Airport. So, but if you are expecting someone flying in tonight, check with their airline to see if their flight is affected. And you will notice this is a live shot of the departure board. You can see that a lot of those flights, comparatively few, are departing delayed. Some are, but a lot of them are on time.
On
you
time
can see.
or still to arrive.
Yep.
You know, the worst of the snow has kind of passed through Salt Lake County now. It's in Utah County. Don't be deceived, though. The roads are still very, very slick. We want to get you over to Utah Weather Authority, Breck Bolton, to talk about what we've seen so far and what we can continue to see throughout the night, Breck.
Well, this is what we're seeing right now. You mentioned Utah County. That's where we're seeing the snow falling, sticking to the roads. A little bit more light snow up through Provo Canyon, where the snow squall associated cold front, as it's tracking through Utah County, it's definitely lost its strength. rank. No snow squall warnings are in effect, but that snow will continue on for the next hour or so here for Utah County and then move through central Utah as it continues to weaken. But here in Salt Lake City, the snow fell, piled up. We had reports anywhere between 1 to 3 inches throughout the valleys here with this storm pushing in. Temperature 31 degrees as we're going to be getting things ready for tomorrow. A little break tonight through the morning hours, but our second front hitting tomorrow afternoon. A possibility of another snow squall moving through the afternoon during the afternoon commute as we're going to be looking at, once again, heavy snow showers. We've got the winds. And after it moves through, snow will linger on, so it will be piling up even more snow with significant snow expected both for the valleys and mountains. And we don't stop there. We'll keep it going, especially across northern Utah heading into the weekend. We mentioned the watches and warnings, winter storm warnings in effect as we look across the mountains here for northern Utah with weather advisories for the valleys. Now, the timing of tomorrow's snow squall, again, a little earlier than what we saw here, where this will have a big impact for tomorrow afternoon's commute. So speaking of traveling tomorrow, we've got treacherous roads on tap as we head into tomorrow. And again, looking at the snow accumulations, impressive amounts where as we go through Thursday morning, a foot to almost 3 feet of snow for the mountains, Wasatch back 10 to 18 inches. Valleys along the Wasatch front 3 to 8 inches with more expected, of course, for the benches, a possibility of 6 to 10 inches there. Right now, we're seeing that snow mainly throughout Utah County. Here's our next wave, the snow dissipating and then the next wave coming through as it really gets ramped up for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's storm doesn't lose its strength as it digs further south through tomorrow night into early Thursday morning. We start to see impacts of the snow through Cedar City, even into St. George. So we're going to see the whole state get involved with this next wave as we'll be really seeing the brunt of it, though, tracking through northern and central Utah. So for tomorrow and tomorrow morning's commute, I don't see any big issues. We'll look at cloudy conditions, temperatures below freezing. Yeah, definitely can find some slick roads, so be cautious out there. By 9 a.m., we see maybe some light snow, particularly through the canyon areas, but we don't really get things kicking into gear until we head into the afternoon, with highs along the Wasatch front getting up into the low 30s, still below average. The further south you go, you're actually going to be looking at partly cloudy skies. No issues of the showers until it looks like until tomorrow evening there for Milford, Delta, Cedar City, further south. So moving through central Utah from Nephi through Fillmore, it shouldn't be an issue until the overnight hours. St. George, you get hit with the snow early Thursday morning. Potentially seeing maybe an inch of accumulation. Friday, you're clearing out. Saturday, you're good to go. Temperatures climbing to near 50 degrees. So you're going to be really not looking at any precipitation issues as we look with the storms having a bigger impact here across northern Utah. The snow tomorrow. And then Thursday, looks like we'll get a little bit of a break, but we'll see some morning showers early Thursday morning. Then our next storm hits Friday and Saturday, not as big. Sunday could be fairly decent as the snow will linger on into Monday and maybe just a few light snow showers on Tuesday. All in all, we're definitely in a storm cycle, bringing in that snow. Great news for our snowpack, but not good news for our traveling. Be careful on the roads, especially come tomorrow afternoon.
The two nationally ranked men's basketball teams in the state were in action tonight. 18th ranked BYU played at number 14 Baylor, and 20th ranked Utah State at home against Wyoming. We start with the Cougars and Bears. BYU with the early steal ahead to Dallin Hall, takes it right to the rim. Cougars back on the break. The alley-oop goes to Atiki Aliatiki. End of the first half, Jackson Robinson beats the buzzer and scores. 3-point play put BYU up by 6 at the half. Second half now, Trevin Neal back-to-back threes put the Cougs up 9, but Baylor rallied back to win it 81-72, dropping the Cougars to 12-3, 0-2 in the Big 12. Now to the Aggies and Cowboys. Utah State on the run. The alley-oop to Khalifa Sacco, the big man rewarded for running the floor. The Aggies kept attacking the rim in the second half. Great Osobor with the big finish. Then just a few seconds later, the steal leads to another big throwdown from Osobor. He scored 20 points, and the Aggies were up by 13. Then he passed out of the triple team here to Mason Fallslev, rocks the rim. Utah State won at 83-59, their 14th win in a row, to improve to 15-1. After winning 2 straight games on the road at Philadelphia and Milwaukee, the Utah Jazz return home tomorrow to play the defending NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets. It'll be 90s-themed Decade Night as the Jazz continue to celebrate their 50th season in the NBA. Best seasons for the Jazz were in the late 90s, led by Hall of Famers John Stockton and Karl Malone and head coach Jerry Sloan. Jazz went to the NBA Finals 2 years in a row. They fell short both times to Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, but boy, it was a great era of Jazz basketball.
I loved coming here. The fans were always fantastic. The atmosphere was great. You know, and playing with the team that we played with, two of the best ever stepped on the floor. You know,
Me and you, right?
I was getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
Our statue's next. And to even to play under Jerry, you know, one of the greatest of all time. For, you know, Larry, who was a fantastic owner, the pieces were all put together right.
We've been somewhere that a whole lot of teams haven't been. And it was so electrifying. It was about 50,000 of y'all, which made me like, oh, wait a minute, we're here. But I mean, the finals was both years back to back. It was unbelievable.
Though we didn't win, we got to do something that most players will never get to do, play in the finals.
It was awesome playing in the finals. Greg said just a few bounces go their way, they win a championship.
Well, and had Jordan not pushed off.
That's true.
They
talked about that. And it's been the rest is history, I guess you could say, with that push-up. But boy, they were so
What an
good.
era.
The team was put together. Jerry Sloan.
It was
Such
magic. It
good
really
memories.
was magic back
Hot
then.
Rod calling all those games. I could
yeah.
still hear it in my,
Yeah.
you know, in
How
my
about
head.
that, Jazz?
Awesome stuff.
You gotta love it, baby.
You gotta love it.
Oh, I love reminiscing about the past. Jeff, thank you.
We'll be right back. Is BYU ready for it? The school newspaper, the Daily Universe, says superstar Taylor Swift is joining the curriculum at the university.
Oh, wow.
So it goes. Professor Ryan Davis heard Swift on the radio back when she was just 17, and one could say the song haunted him. The course is entitled Philo Swiffy.
Yes.
And will reflect the philosophy of the hugely popular singer.
I have a feeling this is going to be a very popular course.
Well, yeah.
Students wanting to get into the course, which will be offered at BYU next winter, will have to wait as it's already filled to capacity.
Just like you said.
I think he knows people are going to have to be told, you need to calm down.
Is it
So
over?
does the professor have like a PhD in
In Taylor
Philo
Swift?
Swiffy. Philo Swiffy.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's certainly a lot of material to study when it comes to Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Her
sure is.
song
Yeah.
collection, right?
Is it over now? I think
Are
it
you
is.
ready for it? Quickcast is next. Stick around.